Welcome back, Field to Food. Welcome back. Today we're going to feed our Black Angus cattle that we raise for halves and quarters for consumers like you. We're going to show you how we do that, so follow along. So let's get started. As you remember, in one of the last videos, we were out here in this field, and you'll remember this shot from a video that I'll put a link in to that last video of how we filled that silo for this beef. So like I said, we are gonna, can't see them out there, but I'll get you closer to them. We're gonna feed those Black Angus cattle. So go on inside. Pretty dusty in this room, but basically we're underneath the silo right now, and when I turn some of these switches on up top there, and there's a big circular thing in there that's grinding that feed down, and it is actually blowing it out. It's blowing it out, and it's coming down this chute. There's a metal chute that it comes down, and it comes down into this chute. And that's what it looks like. It went through a fermented process. When we chopped that corn, it pulverized that corn, like I said in the last video that I'll put a link to. But now it's fermented and it smells really good and the steers like it. So now we got to come up here, and up in this bin there's corn, there's our soybeans, there's some molasses in there, and there's some protein that we have a company that comes in and it really grinds all that feed up. You can see it here. In all that feed, in that corn, like I said, is the molasses, there's soybeans, there's proteins, there's a lot of micronutrients, trace minerals in that feed, and now that is just sprinkling some feed down on top of that silage that's going out through that conveyor belt. And you'll be able to see, as you can see here, that conveyor belt takes it the whole way out through this feed bunk and slowly just distributes it along so each of the cows or each of the steers can get their fair share. So now what I got to do is I watch these amps up here, get rid of some of the cobwebs. Watch these amps up here. Right now I can lower this down so it digs in deeper. I'll push this little button here, which will run this winch. It'll lower that mechanism that's up top that's starting to dig the silage out. It'll lower that down and put more pressure on it. As you can see now, there's more. As you can see now that there's more coming out. So basically, there's about 60 or 70 Black Angus cattle in that barn, maybe as high as 80, and we run this for about 3 or 4 minutes in the morning and at night to feed them. You know, there's a lot of questions. What do we feed our animals? Do we feed growth hormones? Do we feed corn? Are we grass fed? No, we don't feed growth hormones, but we are corn fed. I'm not going to get too much into the difference between grass fed and corn fed, but my dad has chosen to feed his steers grain. And basically what the grain looks like, this is one of our barns, or my dad's barns, full of grain. We pick the ears, still kind of the old-fashioned way. Pick the ears, and like I said, a company will come over and it'll pulverize all that corn. 3,000 pounds, 2,500, 3,000 pounds. It'll grind that corn, and then they'll blow it up in that bin for us. That it will be like a top dress to add extra nutrients and nutrition to just that corn silage. And again, a recap, corn silage is the whole plant that we just ground up and blew up in that silo. So now it's time to shut this thing off here. We shut that off, walk back around the silo, come up here. Our amps are back down. That means when my dad I'm feeding for my dad this weekend. So when he comes back in, we don't like to have that under load, but we'll shut some of these off. And now you can see there's nothing coming out. We'll just let that run. We'll let that run for about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, just to get some of the weight off the conveyor belt. Now we'll shut it off. Turn the light switch off. But basically, guys, there's a lot of work that gets put into putting all that feed up. Really, you can see it doesn't take that long. But like I said, it's 3 or 4 minutes, but there's always things that can go wrong. Why do we feed the steers the way we've done? It's kind of always the way that my dad has done it. Like I said, our steers, there are no hormones in our steers. We can get into some of those questions later. But as you can see, my dad just got some in, and there's some steers out here in what we call our pasture. There's a little guy, there's one over there, and there's a bunch up there. And basically these guys, these steers behind me, they just came in 2 or 3 weeks ago. And basically we're quarantining them. You know, they came from another farm, and you know, hopefully that they're good and healthy. But like I said, we have about 60 or 70 in the barnyard or in the feed lot that have been here for a while, and they're fine, they're healthy. But every time my dad brings in new steers, or we bring in new steers, we put them out in the meadow, or like to keep them separated, which right now I think everybody could understand. You know, cattle can get sick. They are not grass fed, even though they're out there eating grass. You know, after a while, that grass is going to get all. And I think that there's a lot of other nutrition that the animal needs other than just grass. They will gain weight, they'll get fat and ready for harvest, but they'll struggle out there in the meadow. So that's why we bring them in. We feed them all this extra micronutrients, nutrition, energy, so forth and so on. So anyway, guys, that is on this cool, crisp morning. And actually you can see today, see if I can see it. Man, there's a lot of geese out there. I don't know if you can see them or hear them. But today is the first little dusting of snow that we got. That's a day in the life of feeding steers here on my dad's farm. If you have any questions, put it in the comments section. I know that was just like a 101 on feeding steers, but if you guys have any more in detail questions, like I said, put it in the comments. And if you guys are enjoying and getting knowledge out of some of these videos, hit the subscribe button. That's what we're here for. Field to food. Where does your food come from? Do you know your farmer? And I've said it before, and there's a girl, it's down in Maryland. She's one of the first ones, I think, that said it. Ask your farmer, not Google. If you want to know your farmer and you want to know, and it's important to you, where your beef comes from, contact us. We'll tell you everything about how that animal was raised. And you can talk to my dad. Hit the website, charlesfamilybeef.com, and you can email my dad, and he'll go through the whole process of how the halves and quarters or eighths work. And he'll let you know everything you need to know of what goes on here at this farm, or what goes on, what's in that silo, and how the animals are taken care of and how they're raised. So like I said, if you have any questions about beef or want to know where your beef comes from, instead of asking Google, go to charlesfamilybeef.com. Anyway, it's too early in the morning, I can't do it. But like always, somewhere up in there, it will come. Just always remember that it's 76 and sunny. See ya.